Hi, and welcome to another edition of Mike Finds Things, where we go out and find all sorts of cool records, mostly at like thrift stores and estate sales and things like that. I've got another one that's all estate sale for you, since I've been to a few estate sales since I bought the records in the last video. I will say, I don't know what we're going to do about quoting prices from here on out. I'm finding out, like, especially on the Discog stuff, on some of the early 45s and the 78s, the prices are kind of out of whack on those. I'm going to, after this video, stop quoting prices on ones where I can only find one. They only said they had sold one, since it's kind of pointless, and that's not really a good example. I'll only quote prices if I have sold comps, like on PopPsych or eBay. If I do find an eBay, those are harder to find comps because I don't have that access where you pay the extra to get that access through a couple different companies for comps on some of the older stuff. So I try to figure out the pricing as much as I can. I mention if I think the pricing might be out of whack, and that's what I'm going to continue to do. I'll try to do the best I can. Also, the other channel I have, that's just my name, Mike Frankovich. The car channel's been blowing up, so I will be spending a lot more time doing that. So the record videos might get shorter, as I don't know how much time I have to go find this stuff. I seem to be finding it anyway. As you'll see, when in the first stack I have here, and I will tell you the story of this one, I actually was going out to film a video for the other channel. Do junkyard videos sometimes, and a local wrecking yard that about every 3-4 months sets out a line of classic cars. Most of them shouldn't be there. People sent them to the junkyard or donated them, and the donation processing just sent them straight to the junkyard rather than retailing them, which happens a lot, unfortunately. So I do a series on stuff that shouldn't be in the junkyard but is. They're classics. They were supposed to set out a line of classics, and they didn't that day. It said they were out on a Friday. They were not out on Friday. I get to the junkyard, and they were going to put them out on Saturday, and it was pretty far out, so I actually looked up to see if there were any estate sales out that way, and there was one about 20 minutes away out in Riverside. So I drove to that estate sale. It said they had records. In the picture, they had 45s. When I got there, all the 45s were gone except for one that I bought. It turns out they were trying to sell the records, like, other than the LPs, they were trying to sell, like, they sold the 45s like in boxes, buy the whole box. They were doing the same with the 78s. They hadn't sold the 78s. Went through a couple boxes before the lady goes, no, we want to sell the whole box, because I didn't know that by the box, and I wound up making, since I found enough good stuff, I said, why don't I just make you a deal? I'll take all of them, including the terrible ones. I see there's some good stuff in here. So I just made a deal for all the 78s, and I said, look, you won't have to deal with the ones that nobody wants. I'll have to deal with it. So I negotiated. I got a decent price. And I also wound up with the 145 that I bought. So let's go into that one. So this is like an estate sale I hadn't even set out to go to that day, keep in mind. And I mean, you'll see what I got. It's some good stuff. So here's the 145. It's one I have already, but not in this good a condition. It is on Sun Records, Big River by Johnny Cash. B-side is Ballad of a Teenage Queen. As far as I could tell, it's not a reissue. As far as I could tell, this is an original or an early pressing, at least. I didn't look up a value on them. It's probably like it's not an expensive record, but still, I'm a big I'm actually wearing my Johnny Cash shirt today. I just realized that was not planned. I swear. I just happened to wear my Johnny Cash shirt today. So now we're gonna go into the 78s. I didn't buy any LPs at this sale. There are LPs coming on later in the video. First one. This is a bit of a common one. This is one where I only found one that was one comp. It was sold for $9.75. Sounds about right. Cab Calloway, the Calloway Boogie on Red Columbia. 2 blocks down, turn to the left. I like Cab Calloway. I realize this stuff comes up a lot, but this thing is just choice condition. So looks like it's never been played. I mean, so that's definitely going in my collection right there. This, like I said, this is all from the lot I bought for one price. So that one's has sold for $9.75. That sounds about right for like a regular Cab Calloway. Because of the condition, it's probably worth a little bit more than that, because it's usually 78s aren't in that good a condition. This one, somebody's asking $16.79. I should have checked PopPsych on this one. Lloyd Price, on specialty. I probably have a specialty sleeve somewhere for this. A Restless Heart on the other side. And this one, Once again, this is a nice record. So somebody's asking $16.79 for one. I don't know what the condition of theirs is, but this one's pretty choice. Obviously, if you watch the channel long enough, you know that's the stuff I collect. So yeah, I like that early R&B, rock and roll, early rock and roll stuff on 78. This one has sold between 8 and 12, so there are more than one comp for this one. 1953, it's Crawlin' by the Coasters. And the other side is Yes, It's You. And if you haven't done so, go buy, if you collect 78s, you need these sleeves. Go buy some. I get these on Amazon. I'm sure there's better places to get it. Record is actually nice on this one. It's not like minty, but it's, I'd say for 78, it's above average. 78s just are usually just destroyed, especially R&B ones. I don't know why people didn't, a lot of early rock and roll stuff. Maybe kids were younger and didn't put stuff away. And if you don't know what this song is, I don't know why you're watching this channel. So this is a biggie. This one is common. It sells between 9 and 40. This pressing. This isn't the original press. This is the later pressing. 1954. You know it. You love it. Bill Haley's Rock Around the Clock. It's not the original press. This one's like the Personality series. So this was probably like a second or third press of the 78. And 13 Woman. It sold, like I said, it says 9 to 40 on Discogs. It might be more because this is, if you have a 78 RPM jukebox, this is like the one you want because of Happy Days. Because everybody remembers, was it the first and second season of Happy Days that they had Rock Around the Clock before they went to the Happy Days theme song. So that's definitely a cool find. If I ever get a 78 jukebox, that'll definitely go in there. So that's one you have someone over, they all want to hear Rock Around the Clock on the jukebox. Here's a 53 Rockabilly. I think this is only, no, there's more Rockabilly coming. There is more Rockabilly coming in this pile, and then later on as well. This one is sold for 60 on disc. That's the only comp I could find, so it does have some scratches on it, but it plays fine. Rock Me by Lucky Joe Almond on trumpet. That is a Rockabilly. And The Last Waltz, and that label's out of Jackson, Mississippi, so a minor label out of Jackson. That was real cool to find. Like I said, there's just like most of your 78 lots, you buy a lot of Bing Crosby, Perry Como, stuff like that, Doris Day's. Here's one that's common, doesn't sell for a lot, but again, it would probably, I didn't really nail down a good price for this one. I'm not going to try, but from 55, and it's minty, and it's definitely something someone will put in a 78 jukebox. Frank Sinatra, Love and Marriage, with the Impatient Years on the other side. Of course, this carries over to more modern times because since it was the theme song to the TV show Married with Children, so even younger people know that song due to its use in Married with Children. Like I said, because of the condition, I mean, like I think I saw one comp for like $5, and I'm like, that's got to be more. You know, it's got to be at least 10, 15. Come on, it's probably it's an extremely famous song because of the use in Married with Children. Country song from 51. This one has sold 7 to 20. Those are Discogs sold comps, which, like I said, I already priced these before I decided to change away. I'm probably gonna start doing it differently in the next video. Hank Snow, Music Making Mama from Memphis. What else we got? We got the highest bidder on the other side. So, kind of interesting. Like I said, I would not have even gone to this sale if it hadn't been for the junkyard messing up. So I kind of like unlucky, and then a lucky score after that. This one I know I have another copy of, but this one's way better than my other one. 56. This one sells between 15 and 25. Joe Turner, Corrine Corina. I'm sure you all know that song. And the B-side is Boogie Woogie Country Girl. Okay, so the next one we got from 54, we find a lot of Hank Williams. I think everybody finds a lot of Hank Williams. This one sells between 9 and 12. Lowdown Blues, and it's in really nice condition. MGM label Hank Williams. And you better keep it on your mind on the other side. Obviously, Hank Williams is always popular. I think he's always going to be popular. And there you go. I mean, it comes up a lot. I mean, obviously, he sold a lot of records. back then, and I'm sure he still sells a lot of records or CDs or streams or whatever they're selling these days. This one is sold between $4 and $40. It says mid is $25. That's Discog. I still don't trust pricing on Discogs for most 78s. This is another one. If you don't know this song, you're on the wrong channel. Maybelline by Chuck Berry on chess. That's another killer one for the if I ever get a 78 jukebox. Wee Wee Hours on the other side. Like I said, very famous rock and roll song. If you don't know the song, you're probably watching the wrong channel. I'm sure some guy just bought a Katy Perry album. I actually did buy a new record at Target this morning. I bought the Nightmare Before Christmas soundtrack, and it's for my daughter. So I'm going to hold on to it for her birthday. She's a big Nightmare Before Christmas fan. And it's on colored vinyl. It's like $25. I figure that it's going in the closet until her birthday in September, and then I'll give it to her. And we've already found 2 copies of this about a month ago at another estate sale, but this one's actually cleaner than the other ones I got. Mr. Sandman by the Cordettes. And I Don't Want to See You Crawl on the other side. I don't remember what these were worth, but obviously it's something people would want for their jukebox if they have a 78 jukebox. Extremely famous song. That's the thing on 78s. A lot of your more famous stuff can be worth money, just for the sheer fact, because of the jukebox factor. That's what people want. This one has sold for $39. That's the only comp I could find. It's a blues record from '55 on Peacock. Gambling Woman, Big Walter, and his combo. And you know, if you watch this long enough, you know I collect blues 78s, and Shirley Jean on the other side. So that one is going in the blues section of my collection. So it's always nice to find interesting blues 78s. Coming up, here's a biggie. This one, I can only find people that are asking $55 to $100. I showed a picture of the label to a guy I ran to at a estate sale who's like a professional record dealer on this stuff, and his eyes lit up. So I know this is a good one. This is 55. It's a doo-wop. Like I said, I've seen asking comps of 55 to 20. Those are asking prices. Can't Do 60 No More by the Dewdroppers. And Red Robin. This one's Chain Me Baby is the B-side. And from what I can tell, this is a song about that he's with an older woman, if you know what I mean. That's why I Can't Do 60 No More. So it seems to be about an older woman that he's with. So take that for what it's worth. I'm sure you can look that song up on YouTube or somewhere. I'm sure someone's posted it. And this one's, I've heard this before. This one goes between 5 and 12. It's R&B from 1955. Don't Be Angry by Nappy Brown on Savoy. So this, like I said, a lot of these were in really nice condition, like conditions you usually don't find on these. And it's Really You on the other side. Don't Be Angry I've heard before, like on doo-wop programs, or I think maybe on Sirius or on oldies radio years ago. I said I was born in the 70s, so all this stuff's before my time, but I used to listen to a lot of oldies. Here's another one you probably know, at least you know the artist, and we've had the artist already today, and it needs a really good cleaning. I'm hoping it'll clean up better. Bill Haley in the comments, Crazy Man Crazy on Essex. This one on Discogs comps is $11.35 to $30. And What You Gonna Do on the other side. And you probably know Crazy Man Crazy as the truck goes by. And here's a biggie I found, and this one you're going to cry because it's in such nice condition, but it's got a chip in the corner. Does not go into the song, though. I've actually played it. This one is Jerry Lee Lewis with Crazy Arms on Sun, and the catalog number is 259. And you can see how nice, like it's not scratched or anything. And End of the Road on the other side. But in the corner, it has a crack. You can see it. Like I said, it does not go into the music, so you can literally put it on the first groove, and it goes around a couple times of dead space before the song starts. So, but I mean, other than that, it's so nice. And this one, I think on Discogs it says high was like 150. Obviously, the chip takes a big chunk out of it, literally and figuratively, but I mean, Man, and you know, my first concert I always mentioned was Chuck Berry, which we already found, and Jerry Lee Lewis. So it's just cool to find, you know, on 78. I think the comp on that was like 150. That was actually one of the first 78s. That was the first 78 I found that was cool in that pile. I was like, oh, okay, I need to buy these. 1954 rock and roll. I didn't find a comp on this one. I think I probably just gave up. Tweedledee by the Lancers on coral. And Open Up Your Heart on the other side. Check it out, it's got like a blue chip stamp. Someone stuck like a blue chip stamp on there, if you remember those. So I don't know if I should take that off because it's kind of a, it's a Liberty gift bond. So it's one of those. It's like a blue chip stamp. Blue chip stamps kind of went out before my time. I remember finding them in my grandmother's apartment. But so that's kind of interesting. And it's never an estate sale. It's never a 78 finds at an estate sale unless you find some Joe Houston. I always say I got to find the two Joes, the Joe Houston, the Joe Liggins. And this one's minty. I didn't have a price on this one. It's Riverside Rock, which is funny because I actually found these in Riverside. That was the name of the town I found them in. Riverside Rock, Joe Houston on RPM. That is a nice, this is a nice copy. And Candy Rock is the other side. So I found me some Riverside Rock when I was in Riverside. So that's not too bad. I think we have a Joe Houston LP coming up from another sale as well. I got a weird thing about buying those. There's one sold for 15. This is the one where you normally think it's a rando. I always call random 78s randos. And if I find a King Griffin, it's a rando on Rondo, because that was like his label was Rondo, so it's a rando on Rondo. I'm sure anybody that's bought 78 lots has found those King Griffin records by now. Desi Arnaz with Babalu, and this one might actually have more interest now because of the movie. The movie about Lucille Ball and I Love Lucy. So that one might actually have more interest now, but it's a comp. Sold comp was $15. Obviously, it's probably a very common record, but it's one that has interest because of what it is more than that it's rare. It's Babalu by Desi Arnaz. I believe that was from 1947, so that's well before the TV show. This one is from 1952, an R&B, Jimmy Forrest on United. It sold for $5. I've seen people asking $9 and $10. So nothing crazy there. Went in good condition. So it came out of the same stash I bought. Sometimes you just gotta like make a deal for everything. Especially the lady was getting angry. I was going through everything, and she's like, "Well, they're by the box." I said, well, "Let me just buy all the boxes and get out of here." Especially I was way out in Riverside. This one is a 52 country record on King, and it says somebody's been asking 17. I couldn't find any sold comps, but it's like, it looked brand new. It says Automobile Baby, Jimmy Osborne, and Mama Don't Agree. That one is like super clean, so that's probably why I threw it in there. Here's one that's a local record. I have it with a different label variation, and I know it goes for good money because it's like an East LA rock and roll classic. It's on even some of the East Side compilations. This one is Chuck Higgins with Pachuco Hop on combo. I've got the other. There's like a red label where the combo looks almost like a cartoon. And Motorhead Baby has nothing to do with Ace of Spades. It's just called Motorhead Baby, not Motorhead the band. Pachuco Hop is the A side. It's a fun early rock and roll. I guess it was very popular in LA, in the LA area, and it actually sells for decent money because it's considered like a Chicano rock record, East LA style. But it's a good one though, man. If you go check it out on YouTube if you don't know what it is. Here's one. You find this on 45 a lot. I didn't even realize they even made it on 78. I remember finding this on 45 back in the 80s at going to yard sales. And it's clean. They probably played it once because of what it was. But it goes for $1 to $12.50. It's the Flying Saucer, Buchanan and Goodman. And it's got part 1 on one side and part 2 on the other. And on Luniverse Records, I didn't even know they made. Like I said, I find it on 45 every once in a while. I've never seen it on 78. I didn't even realize it came on 78. It came out 56. And it's one of those break-in records where they like do like, it's like a newscast, like there's a flying saucer and they have break-ins into like popular rock and roll songs of the day on it. I'm sure this has got to be on YouTube by now. And they used to play this on the oldie station, even in the 80s, I remember. Here's an R&B classic from 53 on Herald. Sold comp on Discogs, so use that for what you will. Like I said, I'm not trusting them for 78 stuff so much anymore. Although I'd already priced these. I'd already looked them up. Faye Adams, I'll Be True. And the other side is Happiness to My Soul. Again, this is a clean copy. Like I said, R&B from 1953. Here's one that's in the wrong sleeve, but whatever. This one sells for $7. This is kind of a random one, but it's a cool random one anyway. Slim Whitman, My Love Is Growing Stale on Imperial. And Love Song of the Waterfall. That one's a little scratched up, so that's not a $7 record. In fact, I probably just threw it in there just to show you some examples, some of the random stuff that was in there. Most of this lot was random stuff. I got a lot of randoms. I might just take them to a swap meet and put them out for like 50 cents or $1 each and just ditch them. This one, somebody's asking 20. This is a 1948 Jump Blues on Decca. Lucky Millender and his orchestra, Farewell the Deacon Jones on one side, and Berserk Boogie. So, but that one's a Jump Blues record. And I think we're getting into some more of the ones where I think I front-loaded all the rock and roll stuff. Bring It Down to My House, Honey. This one's 5 to 9. It's a Western Swing from 1936. It's probably a later pressing, judging by the label. Milton Brown, Ida, Sweet as Apple Cider is the B-side. And we got more Slim Whitman coming up for all you Slim Whitman fans. I say he's another one you find a lot on 78. I say him and Hank and Bob Wills on 78 are probably the three most common country 78 artists. Indian Love Call, China Doll from Slim Whitman. What do we got here? Okay, this one I didn't make any notes on, so I'm just gonna skip. Here's one. We find these two. This is R&B. This guy was great. He pops up a lot too. Big J McNeely on Bayou with Catastrophe. I find a lot of Big J McNeely's. I think he was part of like the Central Avenue jazz scene. And Calamity. And it's another one that's like really jumping, early rock and roll, R&B, jump blues type stuff. If you like that, check out Big J McNeely. And I did not find a value on that one, but still a killer. It's still a cool find. Big band. This one says it's sold for $10. Alvino Ray and his orchestra with G-string boogie on Capitol, and Antria's boogie on the other side. They just want to really make you know that it was a boogie record. And you know, like I said, it's never a good 78 lot unless you find Joe Houston and Joe Liggins. So we did find Joe Liggins. This one sells between it's sold for $8 on Discogs. Like I said, it's a 78. Use that information for what you will. It's Sugar, so Joe Liggins and the Honey Drippers. And the other side is You'll Miss Me Sure You're Born on the other side. It's in really nice condition. I think I got to clean it. There's like a little bit of like a speck of maybe someone was eating something that spit it on there at one point. That's a nice one. This one I've only found one guy asking $40 for it. I didn't find any sold comps. I didn't think I even found a year because it's not on there. Eddie Dean, Music by the Frontiersmen. One Has My Name on Crystal. And we got Wake Me in the Morning by the Swanee River. Okay, you want something like sort of rock and roll that you know? We got you covered. I didn't bother trying to find a value because there's so many different variations of this one. Diamonds with Little Girl of Mine on one side on Mercury, and the Church Bells May Ring on the other side. And I got another Church Bells May Ring by a different artist, I'm sure you could probably guess, coming up on 45. But Little Girl of Mine and Church Bells May Ring for all you doo-wop guys. And then we're going to roll into the next stash from the next sale I went to. This was by far the biggest stack. And this one, they're asking $5 to $50. This is why you really got to do some research on some of these. Says R&B on Discogs. I played it. It's more like a jazz vocal. 1946, Foolish Years by Savannah Churchill and the Sentimentalists on Manor. And on the other side, I Want to Be Loved, and it's got somebody's catalog sticker on that one. Okay, so we're gonna roll into the next stack now. This is this stack here. There's next couple of them, and then I'll let you know when we're done with that. I went to, it was listed on estate sales. It was a company that does estate sales, and it's basically where they take the stuff that doesn't sell from the estate sales after the estate sale. And I got something really killer in there that the guy couldn't believe I even found. I wound up going through these records for a while too, so we're going to get into that right now. We're going to start. I bought 45s, one LP, and a couple of and then we also got some 78s. And I think the killer find in this one is definitely of the 78 variety, although there's a killer 45 in here. So that's what this was. It was basically a place where they take all the stuff from the estate sales that they didn't sell. This one's a surf record from '63. It's more like a slow surf one. $1.50 to $12. Mid-range is $3, so it's called a $3 record, especially with the writing on it. Jack Nitzsche with The Lonely Surfer on reprise, along with Song for a Summer Night. So we got that. Next one, this is more another common one, but it's not the most common one you find by this artist, obviously. '64, we got Bent Scepter by the Kingsmen on Wand. Of course, you usually find Louie Louie. And of course, Money. This is $1 to $7. Mid-range would be about $3. That sounds about right. This one is, so the $1.75 to $30. Mid is $5 on this one. This is '65. Something I Want to Tell You, Johnny and the Expressions. These I didn't want to be looking stuff up in front of the guy, so I just kind of took a stab at it. But I did buy these. So I will say I think I did okay. And they weren't cheap, but they weren't. Yeah, they weren't like dirt cheap, but they weren't like ridiculous either. This was the killer one. 63, this is like a lowrider soul record. Sells between 7 and 60. The mid-range is 15. And the wax is really clean. It's got a couple scratches, nothing terrible. Let's Get Together Again by Carol Hughes on Corby Records. And it's a lowrider classic, lowrider soul. And Don't Turn Your Back is the B-side. It's kind of interesting, put Don't Turn Your Back as the B-side of a record, but I guess it works. It's a good record. This one sells between $1.50 to $15. $3 is the mid. I bought it because it's not one by this artist you see a lot. Major Lance with Girls on OK, which the label's not the greatest, but the record's good. And it ain't no use on the other side on OK. Sometimes I'll buy them. I don't remember if I had a copy of it or not. Sometimes I'll just buy them because it's like, okay, I don't remember if I have a copy of it. And this one I thought would be worth a little bit more, but it's not. It's $1 to $10. Mid is $2, so we'll just call it a $2 record. The Jerk by the Larks on Money with Forget Me. Okay, now we're going to go into the 78s, and prepare yourself for this one, because this guy, I walk up there and I'm showing I find this, and I just look at this. This is one of those record sets you always find. You always find this one, but you always find those record sets. And I just see this. I see the train. I'm thinking, oh, it's train sound effects or something. You just look at that, because you always find train sound effects on 78 for some reason. At least I do. I don't know if you guys do. But it says Midnight Special and Other Southern Prison Songs. And I'm like, sold. I'll take it. So I grab it and I open it up. I didn't read that it says Lead Belly in small print right there. And but then I open it up, and it has the liner notes. Check that. I better not drop any of this. Midnight Special, edited by Alan Lomax. Check this out, with the original liner notes. And suddenly I look at the record and it says Lead Belly, and I'm like, okay. So all the records in here, I'm not going to pull them out right now, but all the records in here are, I would say, like they look like they were played once or twice. I mean, and they were put back. They weren't like left out. It has the 3 records that are supposed to be in here. There's no Bing Crosby or Al Jolson mixed in. And the records are in exceptional condition. The edge of here is separating a bit on the book, but I mean, look at that. So the guy looks at it. He's like, Southern Prison songs. He opens it up. He sees Leadbelly, and he's like, he says, you know damn well who that is. I said, yeah, I do. And he pulls the liner notes out. He says, Alan Lomax. He says, you know damn well who that is. I said, yeah, I do. He says, I want $100. I said, I don't think that's worth $100. So I open up my phone and look on Discogs. True story. It says it said that it was 15 to 45 on Discogs. Mid was 30. And I'll go back and forth. The guy's like, we finally agree on 40. I'm like, well, they're so mid, I had to grab them because it's not something I ever plan on selling. So I get this for $40 for 378s, but they're Leadbelly. I said, dude, this ain't 20s country or 20s blues on. If I had 20s blues on 78, yeah, you got something. But you get into the 40s, not as much. And then, I don't know, earlier today I look on Pop Psych, because I guess sometimes their prices are more accurate, and they're sold comps. It has sold for 177 and 148. That's 2 sold comps from Pop Psych. Another thing is on Discogs, you always got to check that want to have list. You know, it says how many people have it, how many people want it. If the wants are way higher than the haves, you've got something. That's some good advice. This one has 17 haves and 159 wants. So that tells you something. I'm guessing everyone just like me who has this doesn't want to let it go because of what it is and because it's cool. So going to my collection, you bet your sweet ass it is. It is going to my collection, but I got it for 40. I didn't mind paying that because it's something I intend to hold on to. And then I found out I got it even more. I found out it was actually a really smoking deal later on. So there you go. Here's one that's a mistake, and I'll show you exactly. The mistake is one that comes up every once in a while. It's a 51 R&B. Now that I showed you some Leadbelly, we're going to go into other stuff. People are like watching this going like, oh my God. Let me know if you have that set. That's a killer set. If you come across it in the wild, grab it. Even if it's like, I'd grab it. It's killer, man. It's Leadbelly. Calvin Bowes, I'm on a steam off the stamp, and it's also Fishtail. I think Fishtail is actually the A side, but check this out. I'm gonna steam off the stamp. They put the same label on both sides. It does have Fishtail on the side that has the 29-cent sticker from the discount bin. I'm guessing it got discounted bin because of the misprint where they put the same label on both sides. And Fishtail is an R&B song about Cadillac tail fins. So I couldn't find a comp on this. I think I saw that the 45 sold for 56, but since it's a 1951 record, the 78 was probably more common than the 45. So and it's in really nice condition. Both sides play well. Couldn't really find a sold comp on anything, and also with the mislabel, who knows what that does for the value. But I said, interesting to find a mistake. At least I caught it. I had to look it up to find out what the name of the other one was. But it's actually a song about Cadillac tail fins from 1951, which Cadillac tail fins came out in 48, so that was like a fairly new thing. Here's one, 56, sells between 15 and 20 on Discogs, and unfortunately has a little edge warp. I got to see if I can, I don't know if they get one of those things that flatten these or what I could do with it. It's Goodnight My Love, Jesse Belvin. You probably know it. That's another one that's a big hit. And Let Me Love You Tonight on the other side. That came from the same guy with the I got the ones where I said that came out of like that place where they take all the stuff that doesn't sell at estate sales. But that's a neat find on Modern. It does play. It has a little bit of a warp. Probably a little bit too much. Just a little bit much of a warp. As long as you tweak the weight down a little bit, it does play. Big hit, obviously. And I always say I got to grab the Joe Houstons when I find them. This is a 57 LP, and it's got a bunch of hits. It's got a lot of stuff that I have on 78 already, but Rocks and Rolls All Night Long, Joe Houston on Crown. And so $140, mid is $5. But if you just want to like sit down and listen to a bunch of Joe Houston, it's a great way to do it, and the record's actually really clean. So I'll show you that. So I always like to find, I always say it's a lucky day when I find Joe Houston or Joe Liggins. Okay. All right, so this is an estate sale I went to up in the Hollywood Hills. It was literally like the only thing going on that was somewhat close to me. It wasn't that close, but I got there early, got in first because I knew where it was and how hard it was to park there, since I used to do deliveries up there when I had a motorcycle shop. I went up just so I could get parked, so I knew I could find a place to park my car, which turned out to be a good idea. I only got 2 records at this sale. Are they good? Yeah, I think so. And I got other stuff I got at estate sales the same day, but I think I'm going to run those into the next video, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to hit any estate sales this weekend for the next video. So, and there's a lot of killer stuff in there, including one that I know I have to research a little bit more of, because if it's a real one, it's worth quite a bit, and if it's a bootleg, it's not. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it's a Rockabilly record, and if it's a real one, which I think it is, it's worth a lot of money, and I just want to make sure. I want to do a little bit more research and just see if I can figure out if it's a real one, although I'm about 99% sure it's a real one. But let's do the ones from this estate sale. This one is a 1956 doo-wop, as I promised earlier. We have another Church Bells May Ring by another artist. Now this estate sale, all the records were like classical and stuff I wasn't into, and they're all LPs. They had some 78s, nothing really great. A lot of those 12-inch shellac classicals, things like that. They had a couple books of 78s. I opened one of the books of 78s, and this was in there. 1956 Church Bells May Ring by the Willows on Melba, and comps are $1.50 to $15. Not in the perfect condition. It plays just fine, with Baby Tell Me on the other side. And this is more like the version I think a lot of people hear is the Willows version. Still cool to find, especially it's in really nice condition. And this was the only rock and roll LP in the bunch. Everything else was classical. Imagine you find nothing but classical, and then you find this. Twist with Chubby Checker. I think we found this before on here. This is the 1961 pressing with the orange and yellow Parkway label. It says $7. I can't imagine. This thing is so nice. Even the record's like, I'm not going to pull it out, but the record, well, maybe I will. The record is like super nice. Pop site comps are usually about $20-30. That sounds more like it for something so clean. It's Chubby Checker. Nobody wrote their name on it, anything stupid like that. But I know we have another copy I found that wasn't as nice as this one. Okay, so that's all I got for you this week. We're going to have more really cool stuff next week. I went to a few more estate sales, and like I said, there's one, I wound up at another of those stores, a different store where they bring the stuff that doesn't sell at estate sales. And that's where I scored pretty big, I think. So I'll have that coming up for you next week's video. I still have to do a thrift store video. I might just combine them into an estate sale. I got a bunch of thrift store stuff I got to remember when I bought the stuff. I haven't found anything at thrift stores lately. They have been dry. They have just had nothing. And I've got the other channel, which is my name, Mike Frank, which where I do the car videos. That thing's been going crazy. That thing's been like a freight train. I know there's people that subscribe to both channels. Trying to keep this thing rolling, trying to figure out another way. I don't know if I should just do less records, go into more depth about what they are and some of the history of them. Just trying to figure out what people like. Even with the other channel, it was like an evolution. Like the channel changed a lot of times to where it is today. And I think this channel is going to kind of be the same place, especially with quoting prices and trying to make sure I'm a little bit more accurate on that stuff, because I don't want to mislead anybody. So let me know. Leave something in the comments. Give me a like. Give me a subscribe. God knows we need subscribes on this channel. And until next time, I'll be seeing you.